Darkness or avidya will be experienced by those who are ignorant, and vidya or enlightenment for those who have knowledge. Hinduism believes in rebirth and reincarnation of the soul or atman. Eternal and immortal soul. A person's soul during his life will experience joy and sorrow and is influenced by the law of karma. Therefore death is not a major disaster, not the end of all, but a natural process of the soul which then returns to earth to continue its journey. In Hinduism, the soul or atman is eternal and does not experience death, it is immortal. Death is experienced only by this physical body. Death is the temporary cessation of physical activity and is a means for the atman to increase its level and then be reborn in another body. It's like when we change clothes from old clothes to new clothes. Birth in this world is a place for the soul or atma to do self-introspection. Therefore the soul has to take birth again and again until it overcomes maya, reaches a state of equanimity and realizes its origin. When a person dies, his soul along with the remnants of karma or wasana karma leaves the body through a hole in the head and goes to another world and returns after spending some time there. What happens after the soul leaves the body and before being reincarnated again is a great mystery. Uttarayana and Dakshinayana paths. Bhagavad Gita describes two paths of the soul's journey after death. One of these is the Uttarayana path, also known as the path of light or the path of the gods.
Anir Jyotir Aha Sukla Sanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachchanti Brahma Brahm Vidojana.
It means fire, light, day, full moon and the 6 seasons of the sun are in Uttara or Uttarayana. If at that time death comes, the person who knows Brahman goes to Brahman. Bhagavad Gita 8.24. He who dies during Uttarayana and knows the existence of Brahman will not be born again. And the other path is the Dakshinayana path, also known as the dark path and the Pitra path.
Dhumo Ratris Tatha Krishna Sanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandram Sam Jyotir Yogi Prapyani Naivartet.
It means evening smoke, moonlight and the 6 seasons of the sun are in the south or Dakshinayana. If at that moment death summons, the yogi who attains the moonlight will be reborn. Bhagavad Gita 8.25. How to reach the Uttarayana path. Krishna gives instructions in the following verses. Controlling all the senses in the body, with a focused mind, fixing the inner prana at the top of the head, establishing oneself in yoga, chanting Aum, which is Brahman, and remembering me when death calls, so one attains the highest goal. Suicide according to Hindu religion. There was a time when suicide became trend in the ascetic traditions of ancient India. Through self-immolation, the ascetic will throw away his weak body in search of liberation. The body is considered to be the product of karma, and by burning oneself it is believed to purify oneself and resolve past karma. In addition, hermits also fast and brata until they die as a way to perfect their lives. India's first emperor, Chandragupta Maurya, who converted to Jainism in his last life, traveled south and fasted for 40 days in a cave near Shravanabalagala to end his life. It is possible that the emperor followed the Hindu tradition of performing brata or sannyasa hostel in the last phase of his life, which was a common practice among ancient warrior families, and wasting away his body to attain liberation. Indian warriors are not afraid of death. For them, going to war means death. And they fought bravely with the ultimate goal of dying in battle and going to Virasvargam. But according to the Hindu scriptures, we are not allowed to commit any kind of killing and commit suicide. In the scriptures it is explained that suicide has consequences for our karma. The souls of those who commit suicide end up in the nether region called Punama, where attempts at redemption are nearly impossible for a very long time. Many people in various countries commit suicide because they are unable to deal with social and economic pressures. Some people commit suicide for simple reasons such as failing an academic test, or the death of a movie star or politician. This is very regrettable and must be addressed. What happens to the soul after death? Depends on many factors, some of which are listed below. 1. Previous actions. If a person has committed many bad deeds in his life, he will be reborn into a lower realm and suffer the consequences of his evil actions. On the other hand, if he does good, he will go to a higher realm and enjoy happiness. 2. The state of mind at the time of death. The thoughts and desires that predominate in the consciousness at the time of death direct where the soul will go and what form it will take in its next birth. For example, if a person thinks of his family and children at the time of his death, it is very likely that he will leave the ancestral world and be reborn into a family. If a person thinks money matters at the time of his death, it is very likely that he will travel to Vishnu Loka and will take birth as a merchant in his next birth. If someone thinks evil and negatively, he will go to the lower world and suffer in evil. If he thinks of God at the time of death, he will go to the highest world. 3. At his death. The time and circumstances associated with death are also important. For example, it is believed that if a person dies on the battlefield, he will attain Virasvargam. If a person dies on a holy day or auspicious day, while doing some puja or bhajan at home, he will enter heaven regardless of previous karma. 4. Children's activities. I.e., whether they performed the funeral rites in the prescribed manner and fulfilled the scriptural injunctions. There is a belief that if the funeral ceremony is not performed according to scriptural traditions or rules, it will delay the journey of the souls to their respective worlds. 5. The grace of God. God determines and changes each of our lives. For example, someone is saved from danger. All of that because of God's grace. Heaven and hell belief. Hindus believe in the existence of two worlds separate from us, the world of the ancestors and the gods. They are called the three worlds, Bur or earth, Bhuva and Sva. The worlds that occupy the lower, middle and higher regions of the universe. In the Rigveda there is no mention of rebirth or reincarnation. After the souls leave our bodies, they can stay in the realm of the ancestors or gods forever. The Vedic tradition recommends that we should make offerings to our ancestors to support our belief that our ancestors will be happy living in the ancestral realm or ascending to the heavenly world through the sacrifice of their descendants so they don't return to earth again, don't experience reincarnation. As new traditions developed into Vedic religion, Hindu cosmology grew in complexity and so did the divine explanations of the afterlife and rebirth. The Puranas and Vedas describe the existence of not one but many hells and heavens. Apart from this, each of the Trimurti gods has his own realm, which their followers will attain after death. Vaikuntha is the realm of Vishnu, Kailash is the realm of Shiva and Brahmaloka is the realm of Brahma. Indraloka, heaven or Svar as a temporary resting place for pure souls. Pitraloka is the temporary world of the ancestors. Yamaloka is the hell where the god Yama is. The destination of heaven and hell. In the ultimate sense, the purpose after life is not to punish or avenge souls, but to remind them of the true purpose of their birth. The difference between heaven and hell is immaterial because both are part of the illusion that characterizes all of creation, just like the difference between good dreams and bad dreams. It does not matter to the soul whether it has gone to heaven or to hell, for the soul is eternal, pure and unaffected by pain and suffering. A jiva who goes to heaven will enjoy the pleasures of heaven and will eventually realize that seeking heavenly pleasures is not the end goal because actually those pleasures do not last long. Souls that fall into the dark world, hell, get a sense of horror so that the soul realizes that when we commit crimes, we get suffering. So in both cases, the goal of heaven and hell is to instill an attitude of wisdom in souls.